Hi Sefu, this is Emily and I wanted to do this to get back to you about the recovery things that we were talking about. And what you're looking at right here is what I have made my version of a recovery pyramid that I feel like is more accessible and applicable to high school athletes and specifically high school basketball players. And it's inspired by Nick Grantham's recovery pyramid. So if you just Google that, you can pull that up right now too. So this is going to be a little unorthodox in the way this will come across to you, but my sole purpose is having this conversation with you, and I felt like I could do it better in speaking than I could in writing. So, like I said, you can look at Nick Grantham's, and it's great, but most people don't have access to those things, and what I find is a lot of high school athletes right now are getting really caught up in some of these higher level recovery systems, such as contrast showers and ice baths, and all of those are great, but I really believe, and research shows that if we don't have the baseline recovery elements covered first, then we're really not able to take advantage of those higher level recoveries. So you'll see on the bottom row it talks about sleep, nutrition, and periodization, and that is where we'll begin. So sleep is considered to be one of the most undervalued forms of recovery, and on a nightly basis, athletes should be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep and should be going to sleep around the same time and waking up at the same time. In terms of napping, 20-minute naps are optimal in terms of being most restorative and able to come back to work, and we want to wake up 3 hours prior to training or competing. So nutrition is something that can take up a lot of time, but for the sake of simplicity and leaving something that can actually be absorbed and used, I'll just say a couple quick things. One, timing. So you should be eating before and after competition about 30 minutes on both sides of that, and it should always include a quality protein and a low glycemic carb. Fruit and yogurt, granola bar, and peanut butter work wonderfully. In terms of hydration, you need to drink until you're not thirsty. So the third and final block on the base level of the pyramid is periodization, and there's 3 types of periodization we'll talk about. Weekly periodization means every single week an athlete should have 1 day off. We should have 3 days that are high to moderate intensity, 3 days that are low to moderate intensity. Monthly, we should have 3 weeks where we hit it hard, 1 unload week. Yearly, we should have 4 phases: a preseason phase, an in-season phase, transition. So preseason is one of the hardest training seasons of your yearly annual plan. We get to end season, it's low demand on training, but the games provide a lot of stress. Transition should be a 6-week period where you're not in training and you're not competing. This is hard to find time for in the midst of a year that includes a school season and a summer season, but it's very important. And finally, the off-season is where we identify really key elements to improve on. We focus on those. It's hard training season, but not as hard as preseason. So if we're building our pyramid effectively, then we're sleeping well, we're eating well, and we're planning our training well with periodization. We can move up to the next level where we start to look at self-massage, which is what we do with foam rollers and tennis balls, and really there's so much quality information out there online that and most people are more exposed to it now. I won't go into it very much, but it's hugely important. It's a great prep and a great finish to every training session and does wonders for the quality of tissue in terms of recovery and just general health. Secondly, on the second level of the pyramid is cool downs, which we can also call flush rides. And when we're thinking about our cool downs and flush rides, we want to go for about 6 to 10 minutes at about 60%. So this is something like a bike or a jog. The idea is that we want to do a low level work and we're actually flushing out the lactic acid, which is the chemical that stays in our muscles that makes us sore. So we get rid of that, we can recover better. So we're at the top of the pyramid now, and remember we only go here if we've taken care of the first 2 rows. Assuming that we've done that, or at least we're educating people to do that, then we'll now move into ice baths, contrast showers, and meditation. So an ice bath is when basically you just fill up a tub of ice And if you have access to a hotel ice machine, so if you're on the road, this is a very easy thing to achieve. We want you to be in there for about 6 to 8 minutes. And ideally, if you can get the ice to be at least at your hip level and below, that's perfect. For a contrast shower, we're going to go for about 6 minutes. You'll spend 30 seconds with the water shooting at your legs as hot as you can stand it, and then you'll go to the contrast of that and get it as cold as you can stand it for 30 seconds. So we'll go 30 hot, 30 cold, 30 hot, 30 cold for a total of about 6 minutes, and that is a great tool. Lastly, meditation, which can be a lot of different things, but the act of bringing attention and awareness to your breath and sitting quietly, and the act of trying to clear your mind and not engaging with every single thought that gets thrown your way can be a really great recovery tool that'll help manage some of the psychological and emotional stresses that players incur over the course of training and competing. So remember, this top level is only for people who have nailed those first 2 levels. And if you think about, like, if you spent an hour cleaning some nice white tennis shoes and then you went outside and walked in the mud, that's kind of what it's like to take an ice bath and then go eat McDonald's and go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. All right, so that's it. Sefu, I hope this is clearly articulated and interesting, and maybe a little different take than you've heard before. Nonetheless, I appreciate you just being interested in what I had to say about it, and I guess anyone else who perhaps might have tuned into this, I would absolutely love to hear from you if you have any questions, thoughts, or feedback. My email is emilyknicosi@gmail.com. Thank you very much.